The weird thing is we go to sleep at night. And if you've had a busy day or there's stuff going on, oh my God, I hope I get a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
We love to drop our entire identity and go unconscious every day.
Yes.
And you're not afraid of that. Isn't that wild?
Now, you spent, Jack, when you were in Asia, more than a year in a silent retreat where
Yes.
the only person you spoke to
was the teacher.
Is that really
Yeah,
true,
pretty
first of all?
much, yeah. We had to do every full moon and new moon, we had to do an hour-long ceremony of reciting our vows. And so I might have a little tiny few words with a couple of the other monks, but basically silent for almost a year and a half. The silence, people think silence is hard before they've tried silence. It turns out to be one of the easiest things, because the silence opens that gateway in us to see the light in the oak tree that you never saw before because you were busy doing something, to feel your step in the crunch of the autumn leaves. And all of a sudden, that silence lets you open to these whole other dimensions of life. And I remember I was walking back and forth in this little hut that had maybe 14 steps of length that I could walk and turn around and then walk back the other way. And I'd been sitting and walking for 45 minutes an hour, sit again, pay attention and become the witness to it all. It was ardent and so forth. And I got exhausted. I said, okay, I have to rest. So, all right, I'll sleep on the wooden floor, because that way it's not very comfortable. I had a little mat, but I won't sleep on that, and that way I'll get up sooner. So I lay down to sleep, I fall asleep, and I get up, and I rise up and I walk to the window that's the end of my hut, and I look out, and at some distance in this monastery, I could see my teacher's hut. And then I turn around and I started to walk back the other way, and then I stopped. And I said, there's a body on the floor. It was the first out-of-body experience I'd had in meditation. And I looked and I kind of, wow, that's me, And as I got close to my body and really paid attention, then I fell back into my body, and I was there lying on the floor. I was so intent on getting up, even though my body was exhausted, that some other part of me said, okay, I'm going to get up, even though my body couldn't or wouldn't at that point. So then I got up and I looked out the window again, and sure enough, everything that I'd seen in my, whatever you want to call it, out-of-the-body experience, astral body, some consciousness. And okay, this is why I came here in part. I came to learn about this stuff. And I've had a lot of those experiences since then. But what it's clear is that we're not this body, because who we are is consciousness itself, and we're connected in this way. It's not separate. So those are the kind of things I started to learn in the monastery, and then I've learned more as we do over the years.
I want to go back to the out-of-body experience,
Sure.
because I think people have out-of-body experiences, and then they explain it away this way or the other way, something, it was a dream state or this or that, and they don't necessarily say, oh, this means that who I am is not the physical body. They don't come to that clear conclusion. And yet for you, in your experience, it seems like that conclusion was self-evident for you. Can you tell me more about that?
You hear these stories all the time, people being in an accident and then catapulted out of their body, and later on they say, I was up there watching as the ambulances come. This is a common human experience. But we're so entrained to be materialistic in this culture that everything is explained by the material world of it, that we don't actually have a mental room or a mental space to realize that it means something more than that.
Do you feel that the out-of-body experiences you've had has prepared you or changed your view of death in some way? You personally, your own
Sure.
death.
That helps. The weird thing is we go to sleep at night, and if you've had a busy day or there's stuff going on, oh my God, I hope I get a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
We love to drop our entire identity and go unconscious every day.
Yes.
And you're not afraid of that. Isn't that wild? But our culture doesn't teach us how to live in this understanding. So of course the out-of-body experiences, as did sitting with people when they're dying, and that moment when the spirit leaves the body, and then it's just a piece of meat. It's just dead flesh. And you know that's not that person anymore. It's so evident and clear. I was sitting with my father when he was dying, and I had done a lot of inner work to make my peace with him. Mm-hmm. So I said to my dad, you wait. You might be dirt, but my guess is you're going to find yourself floating out of your body, and there'll be a sense of well-being and freedom that comes from this broken body. And I just want you to remember, I told you so, you know. So of course, how else could it be? Everybody dies. That's the mystery. You think this is who you are? And the beautiful thing is that something deep in us knows this. It's not just me telling you, yes, I've had my experiences. There's something in us that knows that we're not just here to toil, as Blake would say, that we're actually here to celebrate the mystery and the beauty, even in the trenches, even in the sorrows, and yeah, even in the heartbreak we have. And I think of the Zen poet Isa, who is really a poet of exquisite tenderness and honesty and humanity. So he wrote this tiny little, like a haiku, dew evaporates, and all this world is dew, so dear, so refreshing, so fleeting. Now listen to this again, because he wrote it on the death of his daughter.
Wow.
Dew evaporates, and all this world is dew, so dear, so refreshing, so fleeting. And so he's carrying in this few lines the mystery of both the beauty of life, the unbearable beauty of life, and the fact also that it appears in forms and it disappears.
Discover on-demand videos and docuseries, explore a full schedule of daily life classes, and become part of an incredible community. At Sounds True One, we invite you inward to find your way, your way.